At SCAN, we talk a lot about aging in place, but could you age in place in a multi-generational setup? Could you live with your in-laws? Would you want your in-laws to move in with you? And what if you already have adult children and now you have your parents coming all into the same house? It's not for everyone, but is it for you? There are some benefits. Stay tuned. That's what we're talking about today. Hey, good morning, everyone, and welcome to SCAN FYI. Yeah, big topic today, and who better to deliver this information than my guest, who is Mark Viggiani. But first, let me also let you know that Mark is from Keller Williams, and he is also the sponsor of today's segment. So good morning, Mark.
Good morning, Andrea. How are you?
I'm very good. So why don't you take a moment, introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about you.
Sure. Longtime Monmouth County resident. I have a bit of a diverse background from college education to running a plumbing company, and now I find myself helping people with their needs when real estate's involved.
That is a bit diverse, but I feel like it all ties together. So, multi-generational households. Let's talk about that, because this is definitely not something we've talked about. And I do look at it as yet another opportunity for people to age in place.
Mm-hmm.
But what does that mean to you as a realtor when you see the idea of a multi-generational home? What are some of the benefits?
Well, I actually have some firsthand experience with it because my grandfather actually moved in with my family when my grandmother passed away. So as I'm working now with current clients and people that need these services, I have a certain insight of a feel of what's good and what's not, and what you need and what you don't need. The most important thing is to be transparent and get everybody on board from the beginning.
Yeah, it's a huge step in a family to bring in another relative. But there's benefits. So what would be some benefits to do that?
Well, the benefit of, say, bringing in either both parents or a now widowed parent is peace of mind that you know they're safe, that they're not alienated and alone. Um, Other benefits in the same scenario is now there's somebody else in the household that can maybe help watch the kids.
Okay.
If both parents have to work, daycare, we all know how grossly expensive that is today, and it's a benefit. And it also gives, when it's the parent moving in, a sense of purpose also, that they're part of a household and part of a unit and part of a family.
I could also imagine that there is potentially some financial benefits because perhaps the parent moving in would help out financially with the household, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. As well as letting the family make more money by not having to worry about, again, the daycare, um, bringing in two incomes.
I think when there's grandparents in the house, again, not for everybody, and we'll get to that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it does create a really nice, rich environment if you can make it work. It's a nice way to grow up.
Oh, absolutely.
Having your grandparents with you, but it's not for everyone. So what do we have to look out for?
Well, again, that's the whole idea of being transparent and upfront. And you have to listen to the cues. Where are they really on board? The other thing is
okay, yeah,
parents. The other thing is even the rest of your family. How does your husband or wife feel, depending on whose parents it is? Um, Even the children. I mean, I'm a firm believer that we make our decisions for our children, but you have to look at the big picture too. What impact is it going to have on them, their privacy? Um, so there's an awful lot to consider before moving forward with something like this. You don't want to be in a situation where your parent or grandparent transfers into the house and it's a temporary situation, and then next thing you know, it's no longer temporary. So if you even think it's going to be a temporary situation, you really need to have the talk. What if this does not become temporary, and be ready for it? So again, there's no resentment. You have a plan, and there's just it's going to be nothing's ever smooth in life, especially anything worthwhile. But you want to make it as painless as possible.
I think also when I think about the idea of it, first of all, if you get along great with your in-laws or even your own parents, of course, that will be very helpful. And I think this arrangement has disaster written all over it if you live in a very volatile kind of environment, right? So that I feel like that's the transparent part. You have to be realistic about what you're really going to be getting into. But, what about when you bring someone into the home? I guess you have to have the right setup in your home to make it go smoothly.
Oh,
Like
absolutely.
bedroom wise, bathroom wise, privacy wise.
Accessibility wise, some
Oh
older
yeah,
people do
that
have
too.
problems with accessibility.
Yeah.
And probably the biggest part of the setup is um, their own privacy and your family's privacy, that you don't feel uncomfortable that grandma's in the living room all night while you're watching TV. And, she may want to, have her own private space, but not stay in a tiny bedroom all night. So that's the biggest part of the setup is yes, identifying the best living circumstance that works out for the whole family.
Because I'm thinking that not everyone's home, while you might have the best intentions to want to bring a parent to come live, or both parents, you might not have the right setup in your own home, or maybe it's not even going to be big enough. And privacy naturally for everyone. So let's even say your house isn't right. It's going to be too small. We need another bedroom, we need another bathroom, that kind of a thing. So what do you now need to look for if you are thinking about moving? What's going to be the most appropriate kind of a residence to fit all these people and be private?
Well, the big thing, like you said, is the room, the space. Um, and that can be difficult, especially in newer homes today with open floor plans. The thing that you need to look for, and a lot of homes are being built this way, a lot of homes are being redone this way. Um, Traditionally, the master primary bedroom is on the second floor. A lot of times when they are remodeling homes, um, they are adding the primary on the first floor. So that could work in favor of having an ensuite, a private area for the next generation that's moving in.
So
On
they
the
won't
flip,
have to deal with the
they don't
stairs.
have to deal with the stairs, and then
Yeah.
a lot of ranches that are redone are expanded. And when they do that, they don't eliminate the first floor master bedroom; they add a second one upstairs.
Okay.
So that's definitely one thing to look at. The other thing is to look at, okay, it doesn't have everything we need, or is the possibility there? What can we do? My father converted our family room that nobody really used because we had another family room into the bedroom for my grandfather with a bathroom.
Okay.
So part of it is you have to be open-minded. Sometimes you have to think outside the box. Sometimes it's obvious. Oh, this is all we got to do. It's a no-brainer. And there are homes out there that are called mother-daughter that have a whole separate, it's like a separate apartment, little kitchenette, sitting area, bedroom, and private bathroom. And sometimes what's even better is when it has a private entrance and exit.
Because then it really is as though you absolutely have your own place coming and
Sure.
going. Everyone doesn't need to know where you are at every moment,
Right.
which would be a good thing. So it sounds like it has a great opportunity, especially when there's kids in the house, like you grew up with your grandfather. But what happens when, you start this and then it's not, do you find that sometimes it just doesn't work out and this kind of relationship has to dissolve?
It's a definite possibility. Nothing, works, and sometimes issues don't show up immediately. You don't realize there might be personality conflicts or opinion conflicts that get to the point where it's hard to live amicably together. Um, and then you got to think what is the next step. They need more separation from us, or we need more separation from them than we thought. So now you got to think of the next level of what are we going to do? Where are we going to go? We still want to be close to each other, but obviously, even with separate living quarters, it's not working. So, to have when you are working through this process of what's the best way to handle multi-generational living, that discussion usually comes up also, not just, what are all of our options? Do we all live together, or do we find something where we're close enough that there's a comfort level that we know everybody's safe? If there is help that's needed, we're close to each other, whether it's watching the kids, dropping kids off. So there's a lot to consider, and it's not something you need to, or not something you should just jump right into.
So, Mark, do you find now in Monmouth and Ocean counties, we have a lot of 55 and older communities. And
Right.
so do you find also that parents who live in those communities, or maybe their grandparents, they wind up having their children or possibly their grandchildren coming to live with them?
It's definitely a situation for the living purposes. The adult communities, depending on the community, have their own parameters. Some will not allow children under 18 to stay in one of those places with their grandparents for more than a week.
Oh, I see.
Um,
Okay.
there's actually some that, because of the adult child situation, I actually just came across. I have some clients purchasing, and under 46 years old, you can't stay there longer than 6 months.
46,
So,
that's an interesting cutoff.
and that's something first time I came across that myself. So I'm always finding and learning new things, all these new communities. And a lot of them are set up uh, because they know different needs are met. Some of them are set up to avoid that stuff. And then there's some that are, okay with it. They know what's going to happen. And a lot of those adult community homes are built already predetermined that this is a possibility, that, a family may move in also. And not that it would be necessarily a two family or a mother daughter, but there is accommodations for separate but open living.
So there's not a one size fits all. That's the way life is anyway.
Exactly.
But it's I guess it's probably, I'm thinking in my mind, it's more probable that parents would move in to their children's home, or do they ever even just go out and do you find buying a home, like
Absolutely.
deciding we want to do this, so let's just buy a home
Oh,
together?
absolutely. Especially, and much of the time the parents are part of the purchase. Usually they're contributing to the financing of it. And I have specifically gone out and looked for homes for multi-generational, and not just two generations. The young generation, grandparents, and even a great grandparent being involved.
Wow, that's again, I like it. Conceptually, it sounds like a wonderful opportunity around the holidays to have all your family together. But on the other hand, with all those personalities, I can imagine it could be a little rough at times.
It probably can. It probably is. You know, listen, I grew up great, but yeah, we had, a couple rough moments with my grandfather. I mean, all of us that, was because he was living with us. But at the same time, learned a lot from his background, coming from Italy. And there's just so much even the kids can learn just being around their grandparents.
I think it does make for an interesting opportunity. If you can make it work, I think it's a wonderful opportunity, for aging in place for older parents. We talk about this so much at SCAN, but this is the first time we've ever talked about everyone living under one roof. And I'm thinking that to make this work, you really there's a lot of preparation, mental preparation even, that has to happen so that you all get off to a good start. And I don't know, maybe you have to put together some ground rules for everybody, right?
Yeah. I mean, just like anything, any partnership, any venture that multiple people are going into, whether it's same family generational
It is
or
a partnership. Yeah.
it's communication is what it comes to. Communication and expectations. And if you can get those at least on the same page and recognize, what the conflicts could be, again, the more you prepare for it, the better chance you have of success.
I would think that one of the potential conflicts could have to do with financial, but this again is where you have to really be transparent, put all your cards on the table. Are you, as the parent moving in, going to contribute? What are you going to contribute? How are you going to maybe cook dinner at night, do the laundry? I guess there's a lot to talk about well in advance.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely.
But it has potential to be an amazing relationship for your family.
Oh, sure, sure. Again, it's just, again, for the grandparents, the idea that they're in a place where and it's hard because a lot of times the first impression is, I don't need to do this. I'm okay.
You
It's
mean
a bit of their
you mean
independence,
from
but
the older parent?
yeah, they
Yeah.
feel like, you're suggesting that they lose their independence. But on the positive side, it's a matter of you're building the family relationships. You're continuing family traditions. Whether it's how you celebrate a holiday, whether it's the one meal that your grandmother made that nobody else makes just as good that your mom knows how to make, it gets passed on to you. The hobby your grandfather had, with model trains or baseball cards or whatever, the kids could get an interest in that, and it's just there's as much as there could be issues, and there could be plenty of issues, and there will be. There's just that much more positive possibilities that come out of it too.
I even look at it as let's say the older adult, the grandparent moving in. In some ways, I would find it empowering for them instead of a loss of independence, because I know I'm in a safe place. I don't have to worry about a lot of things that maybe if I had my own home, cutting the grass, the roof, the furnace, etc. And I'm with people who love me and will be there for me, and they only want the best for me, and I'm going to enjoy my whole family relationship. I think it really has potential to be wonderful.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And again, if it's a necessity, um, you just have to go into it with the right attitude.
Oh
Um,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and I think the key is when you make this decision, even if things don't work out, you've got to make an agreement with yourself that no resentment's going to come out of this.
Okay, that's a good point. That's a very good point. Yeah. Well, some people are going to just know right off the bat, I couldn't live with my parents, or the parents might be the ones saying, "What, are you kidding? I couldn't do that." Or, "Hey, I'm not the babysitter." So it's not right for everyone. But if it's right for you, I think potentially it could be a marvelous arrangement for everyone.
Oh, it's a win-win for the entire family. Absolutely.
So if you all are listening and you want to know more about this, the good news is that Mark is going to be at one of our lunch and learns coming up is it May, I believe?
Yep.
At Scan at Monmouth Mall, and he's going to be in a much more expanded way talking on this subject about everybody living under one roof, and you'll get to find out more. But Mark, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom today. Once again, thank you for sponsoring today's segment of Scan FYI.
Well, thanks for having me, and I'm very happy to be a part of the Scan family.
Well, and we appreciate it. We look forward to having you at our lunch and learn. All Mark's contact info is here if you want to reach out to him and find out if multi-generational living is right for you, or if you have any other questions, I know that he'll be happy to help you. So remember out there, if it's important to you, it's important to us. I'm Andrea Tarr, and we'll see you next time on Scan FYI. Bye, everyone, and bye, Mark.
Goodbye. Have a great day.